Hey again, YouTubers. Yeah, today nothing quite interesting or refreshing occurred except I submit 2 applications to 2 universities in Iceland, hoping to receive their replies or responses in the in next month or the month after. Well, according to my research on Wikipedia, on Google, derping throughout the web here and there, and I found out that it won't cost you quite a deal to study, to do a to attempt an undergraduate degree in Iceland's public universities, such as the University of Reykjavik. Sorry, the University of Iceland. Yes, that's the largest public uni I can manage to find so far. There are also several more public universities that only symbolically charge somewhere between somewhere between maybe just 800 Australian dollars to somewhere like maybe 500 or 600 Australian dollars. I don't remember the exact figures without having to go back to my computer and confirm the exact figures. But yeah, I am merely giving you an overview on how much it will likely roughly cost you to attempt an undergraduate degree. Well, technically speaking, I'm still an undergraduate, since I dropped out of the Sydney uni, majoring in chemical and biomolecular engineering. Yeah, and that happened nearly 6 years ago. Yes, that was quite. Yeah, it's been quite a nightmare. Just trying to complete my degree in chemical and biomolecular engineering. Since I didn't actually take the time and take the appropriate steps to adapt myself, to adapt to a uni life that's supposed to be for a student, for an international student studying there, who used to study there and didn't quite adapt to the customs, especially to group assignments, things like that. Yes, that was my biggest probably the second biggest regret, next to right after how I found myself so mean and so oblivious towards what had been going on on my dad, so which either peripherally or indirectly, or maybe directly, led to his premature demise at the age of, 56. So I have to look out for myself now, in terms of how I should work the angles, or work between the angles to find a way out of this mess. The other thing I like to mention is, Satan, or yes, as always, I have found, something that if not Satan, if not Satan's subordinates, minions, like whatnot, they are. I happen to take notice of their behavioral patterns, like they are trying to use, they are trying to leverage every chance to convince me to commit suicide, such as hey, you are aging, you have developed some wrinkles around your eyes and near your nose, and you also have developed some discomfort, pain around pretty much on every part of your body. Yeah, I am conveying the facts about my current mental status, in regards to to how I perceive, how I reckon Satan is trying to convince me that I am not worth living. I don't deserve to get the best out of this life. Yes, I can see that. I can at least hear. Sorry, not I can hear, but I can feel that Satan, he also he is currently attempting to use myopia, nearsightedness, since I have developed myopia, roughly since the age of 12 or 11, well, as far as I can remember, when I had to wear lenses, just to as you can see, I am still wearing a pair of glasses. So Satan, he once used some sort of he in particular, in quite recently, I can feel that Satan, he in fact, on the essence, he tries to convince me that if I jump jump from the rooftop of this hotel at the fifth floor, whenever I go to do my laundry, he will find every possible means to to lure me, to tempt me, to tempt me to commit suicide by saying, or at least by showing me some sort of false visions, or if not hallucinations, just he formed some sort of visualizations, or flashback of myself committing suicide, to let so that he tried to convince me that if I attempt suicide, my myopia will heal. It's such a stupidity, right? It sounds so stupid, but at the time it felt so real. Yeah. Yes, like I said, it felt so real that it they those those visualizations, imageries, if not technically speaking, hallucinations, pretty much makes you think that you are destined to get yourselves killed, and the implications, so far as I can reckon, might be you begin to have more and more self-doubts about pretty much everything you do. You begin to question the correctness of every word you type, every grammar you use, whenever you write an email, or you speak to someone. Well, even in my native language, though I do consider English a more native language than Mandarin Chinese. Well, on my own perspective, since I don't quite speak Mandarin Chinese, so long as I won't have to, well, that means I only speak Mandarin Chinese in China, when absolutely necessary, since you don't speak English to someone who doesn't speak English at all, right? So you just can't. So you just have to speak Mandarin Chinese to people who only understand Chinese. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's not rocket science. Yeah, so that's why I suppose further deepens my self-doubt. Which then as a result leads to more and more fear and self-doubt, and which makes it a vicious cycle, a terrible, frightening vicious cycle. So I try to explain the underlying mechanisms behind Satan's temptations and attempts to indoctrinate you, or coerce you into believing that you are you have absolutely no hope. Well, certainly, even at this moment, I am more inclined to believing that I have no hope than I have hope. Yeah, but that's pretty much why I mentioned the notion of mind and body dualism, which means you have pretty much two kinds of forces or energy built inside your body, and mind and soul, and you will certainly experience the ongoing disputes and disagreements and clashes, yes, between these two forces from time to time here and there, and no matter where you go, um, no matter what time is it, you can experience the clashes, the disputes between these two forces, even in your sleep. And probably that's why humans have dreams, nightmares, panic attacks during their sleeps, even including me. Though, well, I don't experience panic attacks during my sleep, my hibernation, as much as I did when I was quite young, like several years old, between several years old and maybe the age of 13 or 12, before I headed to Singapore to attain my high school diploma, A level, yes, A level. Excuse me. So I don't know what caused me to experience less panic attacks, or fewer occasions of panic attacks, in my adult life, than what I experienced in my childhood. So that's quite a complicated issue. I don't have all the answers, and I doubt the so-called specialists or experts would ever have a complete explanation, in response to my question like this. Yeah, but that's not the main point. The main point of this video is that I'm trying to piece all those dots and fragments of memories of plans about the future all together, to give you guys a relatively complete overview of what I plan to do next, where I plan to head to, in order to stay alive, to stay as positive and hopeful as I think I can manage. All things considered, first, I pretty much have no friends here. Even if I do have, I do have several former friends, I rarely maintain a regular and close contact with them no longer. Since I just see no point of maintaining something that that's so easy to lose and so hard to maintain. Even for let's just say, even for people who seem to fall within your own range of beliefs, ideologies, mindsets, so even if their own characteristics, do seem to match or to agree with your main ideology, or religious belief, they are, it's still it still poses too many challenges, when you try to maintain some sort of a distance between you and them. Between you and them, you have to, you have to engage in a constant mind struggles on what information to disclose to them, or what kind of information you have to withhold from them. This is this becomes such, this issue, I perceive, as far as I can reckon, it tends to grow more and more acute, more and more severe as we all age, as we all become older and more skillful at lying, at making excuses, trying to divert unwanted attention from sensitive topics like your annual income, the taxes, the amount of taxes you pay, and some other information like your intent to your plans to get married, to have kids, and to your religion, the books you read, the things like which software you use to circumvent the Great Firewall of China. When you engage in a relationship or friendship, in particular in China, you will be at the stake or at greater risks of having to disclose certain sensitive or confidential information to those people whom you have either friendship or relationship or companionship with, and that makes life in China kind of hard, for if you happen to be someone who are not very good at lying, or and or just constantly feel the sense of guilt, or feel your part of conscience keeps throwing fire at you for just having to lie to people, even for me, while I have to admit that yes, more often than not I still have to lie, if not having to withhold certain sensitive information even from you guys. But I'm trying, I perceive the reason why I make this video is to one of the purposes why I still decide to make this video is to share with you guys the dilemmas, the moral dilemmas, you might find yourself so entrenched and so stranded with when you have when you believe in God, to a certain extent, and on the other hand, you have to get creative, get crafty, on how to handle people's questions, and also potentially malicious intentions or attempts to kind of to take advantages of you. That's just so that just gets so terrifying to me, and I that's also one of the most crucial, the most significant reasons why I don't actually bear hope in continuing my future life here in China, because there are just so many, there are way too many things you have to worry about. Well, at least back in the days while I was in Australia, I didn't have to worry about things like when do you plan to get married, and that's a question you will always you tend to get asked asked quite a lot here in China. If you happen to be single, if you happen to you get what I'm trying to say here, right? So you just have to lie, well, in fact, just to protect yourself from harm, from potential hazards, danger, etc. So that's driving me crazy, and I there are also other potentially adverse implications, when for a dude who doesn't have much experiences, on how to get crafty, on how to get flexible with moral standards and beliefs, so that's mainly why I pretty much made my mind that I if possible, I will not dwell in China for this long, unless I absolutely have to. Yes. Yeah, I believe I've talked enough for this video. So if this video happens to provide you with more help than negativities, please feel free. Please please support me on Patreon, or subscribe, or hit me a message. Hit me with a message on Discord, and so we can we can talk more about the insights, the whereabouts of what's been going on around me, and whatnots, and etc. So yeah, I have to get my takeaway food for dinner. So thank you again for watching and listening, and I hope I can see you guys next time on YouTube, provided that I'm not provided I'm not struggling with more depression or suicidal thoughts, or both. Yeah, thanks, and bye bye. Cheers.